How's it
We're
going?
still not AI.
Technically, according to the thumbnail, I might be.
Yeah. Um, there's so much going on. I know Sora Slop has been in the news. We posted a
Mhm.
clip. Apparently, Sam Altman's a huge fan of the 3-8 podcast and subscribes.
No
So,
way. I never would have
right.
known
Yeah, like
that.
and subscribe. So yeah, I guess folks don't know. Sora is a video generation AI program that OpenAI's had for a while.
Hmm.
Sora 2 is the next generation of the model, but the other thing that they've really done is they've doubled down on the social mediaification of it.
Yeah.
And it's unclear if they're trying to build a social media platform or they're just kind of experimenting with this idea, but I guess it's similar to TikTok. I've never TikToked, but you have a profile, you go in, you generate stuff, you share it, people can follow you, you can like the videos. There's some sort of algorithm that gives you a feed, kind of your standard, social media. Uh, I think the big thing that I've seen a lot of is there's just weird guardrails in place. You
How do you
can
mean?
you can have it do some really
Oh,
strange
oh, I think I know
brand
what you're talking
infringing
about.
stuff,
Got it.
but
Got it.
also
Yeah.
not strange brand infringing stuff.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And it's really unclear of how they have it set up. So like you can we can maybe show some. I've been kind of playing around with it a little bit, and I've asked it to recreate actual events, and it's like, nah, dog, I can't do that. And then I've done something that's like super brand unfriendly with copyright infringement all over it, and it's like, wait a second, I got this.
It reminds me of like back in the day when we didn't have strong filtering capabilities
Yeah,
for like any time people were sharing content. You just sort of had like a block list of words, and these had to be words. Like if someone misspelled it, it got through. So
yeah,
I wonder if there's something similar here, where they, of course, they're going to churn the content into an LLM and say, "Hey, does this topic touch on any of these block words or block list topics?" And then it just so
yeah,
happens that sometimes it hallucinates and it doesn't hit the block list, so it creates some weird copyright infringement content.
yeah. So yeah, maybe I'll share this one. I thought it was pretty funny and also demonstrates like how not good this is. So this is Sam Altman taking taking off his mask and revealing that he's actually Snidely Whiplash, which is kind of funny, I guess, but also not a very good AI fake. I
Yeah, the
did,
way that his hat disappeared behind his head was
yeah, I was doing some. So, like, this is a totally brand infringing thing.
I
Totally had
see.
no
Yeah.
problem doing that, right? And then Sam Altman burning money. And again, we can see he's taking the money out of the fire.
He's taking the money out of the fire, but saying he needs to feed it to the engine. Uh,
Yeah.
but it works apparently.
Yeah, so I'll maybe put some of those clips in and it's I redid a Folgers, commercial. So it's and if I don't know if you want to like,
I'm trying to see if that's the logo because
it's not very good, but it's like close enough where you probably recognize it. And then at the end here, it's like the older school logo. I think I don't know if
yeah,
you
I
have
was
an
I was
older
going to say I don't know
screen.
if they yeah, I didn't know if they changed the logo or not, but it hit
Yeah.
that uncanny valley for me. I was like that it looks close enough, but I don't know if that's the right logo.
Yeah. So from like a creative perspective, like I think that's kind of cool. From like a brand perspective or copyright infringement perspective, I hate it because there's no real easy way to know if what you're viewing is like fake or not.
Hmm.
Like what I showed you were downloaded videos that I downloaded from the app. Like
Hmm.
it's not on the app. If I was on the Sora app, I would just be assuming everything's probably made up because that's the whole point.
Yeah, yeah,
But the fact that, and then if they get rid of downloads, someone will figure out how to, get it out of the system. And there's already been a ton of articles about how easy it is to remove the watermark. Well, it's been really
yeah.
easy to digitally edit video for 20 years.
A
So
long
good
time.
job,
Right,
folks.
right. Well, I mean,
But
I imagine it's meant for the lay folk.
yeah,
It's easy to remove for the lay folk. But yes, I see your point. It's really hard to tell for the average person whether something is not real or not. And we did talk about a little bit about this, where it's very
Yeah.
hard to believe what you see online nowadays.
Yeah. It's only gotten worse. And I think I've been seeing a lot of stuff. I don't really do a lot of social media. I've been trying to build the YouTube presence more. So I've been trying to do some actual like reconnaissance, try to figure out how this stuff works. And I've been seeing a lot of stuff where I'm like, that's weird. It doesn't really feel real, but it's like small, pixelated enough where I'm like, it could be a really bad recording and it could have happened or not. And I suspect a lot of it's Sora video.
Hmm.
So it's already starting to filter into the world, and it's not labeled. You know, they're detecting this stuff's pretty hard. It's I don't know. I feel like it's a newsworthy topic that people might be interested in our take on, but like we hit this last week and I don't really have any more opinion other than it's an unnecessary technology right now.
It ties into some. I don't know that we talked about this in a cast, but I'm going to go full conspiracy mode here. There was some news. I don't remember how long ago. It was a few months ago, but someone on YouTube had noticed that the shorts that he was uploading were slightly different than the shorts he was uploading to other platforms. And then
Oh,
there were a bunch of people who looked into it, and it seemed like YouTube was modifying the short, digitally enhancing it. But it was just enough so that people were like, there's something a little bit off about this, but the
yep,
content's real. So
yep,
the conspiracy theory here is that we're slowly being trained to not recognize when something's slightly off with a video. We just assume
yeah,
the content's real because there was a point in time where things were real. So
yeah,
the slow training of brainwashing of what content is real and what isn't anymore is slowly being ingrained into us.
yeah.
Um,
Well, jokes on them. I don't think anything on the internet's real at this point. So, but
Andrew, we've
unfortunately,
never met in person. You didn't know I'm not real, actually.
we could both be AI.
Yeah, yeah, very true.
But yeah, I don't know. For me, it's like it's kind of a cool piece of technology. The negative aspects of it make it untenable to release to the general population, let alone at a scale, let alone on a platform that's, you know,
Intended to share and
yeah,
get more people
intending for
onto
you to
it.
fake stuff about people and share it with, especially without their consent. And then they've been pushing back on people to say, well, if you don't want your likeness or your
You can
brand or
opt
whatever on
out
here,
or
then you have
whatever.
to tell us. And it's like, no, you don't get to
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
That's not how this has ever worked. And, you know, I feel like I'm belaboring at this point, but everybody needs to play by the same set of rules, and the tech companies. And if you're an AI company, that doesn't mean you just get to ignore the rules. There is
Mhm.
a, there is a line between trying to expand what's possible given a new technology and the rules. But this is one of those things again where I can't possibly see a benefit to our society allowing people to like deep fake information or just create very realistic looking fake stuff. Like, I guess there's an entertainment focus, but the downside for me is so much more tremendous than the upside of entertainment.
Mhm.
And if I guess you could say if you were for entertainment, okay, fine. But there would be ways to do this that would be easily detectable or guardrailed a little bit more to keep it confined in the app and make it more difficult for people to exfiltrate the video and put it on another platform like Instagram. So it feels really lazy. It feels like there's something else going on that they're trying to push because it doesn't make a lot of sense right now. And I don't know if people want to check it out. I guess go check it out. I got access. I was playing around with it. You know, I'm in the field. That's kind of part of the job, and I don't use it.
Yeah.
I don't really see value, to be honest.
I mean, you can argue that this is just a play in a playbook to get adoption, or at least to get the brand recognition, as if they needed it anymore. But
Yeah, and they're collecting a ton of data. We've talked about this before too, and so if they're trying to improve their models, understanding what people are trying to generate, understanding, you know, what gets engagement, it's a giant. It could be a giant A/B test, and at the scale that they have and the amount of money that they're burning, sure. But then you're, again, experimenting on people without their consent and trying to make this appear to be some kind of social media tool. And we need to have a bigger conversation in our society about experimenting on people. If you were to do this in a university, you would have to go through months of human subjects
Yeah, I think you'll get rejected outright unless.
If you're a CEO of an AI company, you can just experiment on people psychologically all you want all day long, and nobody really says anything. So it's, again, double standard. If people want to opt into that kind of thing and are informed, the whole point of biomedical ethics is informed consent. I don't really see that happening, and maybe it's in the tiny fine print that I skimmed through when I created an account.
And no one
maybe
reads.
Not.
Yeah.
And
I also
really
doubt
informed.
it would be. Yeah,
right.
That would be there anyway. So
and people who are like, oh, it's just a software program. It's not, though, because people get on there and they'll think that some of the things are real, or that it gets out of the platform, and now you're an unwilling participant in someone else's manufactured reality. Additionally, I guess the data is really clear to me. There's, I guess, some people who debate it, but social media is really not good for you as a human. It's, there's all sorts of harms that manifest in all sorts of different ways that are not so obvious. We're seeing it
not
more
so
and more.
immediate either.
Yeah, we're seeing it more and more. Like when people, with the chat programs, they'll have some sort of an event in their life that is significant, and then the chat program gets blamed. And so people are starting to understand that, Andrew was really depressed and only talking to ChatGPT, and no one knew about it. And then something terrible happened because he didn't reach out, and the algorithm was either feeding it or not allowing him to, or not enforcing him to do like a proper channels thing. And so I'm trying to be a little YouTube friendly here, because there's rules on what you can say and not say and whatnot. But one of the most recent things I saw on that was that it was a really interesting analogy. And I think it was a really clear point where there was a kid using, I don't know, some chat program and kind of like therapy, my life sucks, whatever. And the chat history was pretty mundane until like kind of towards the end. And the kid made a couple claims that if you were talking to a human psychiatrist, they would either, involuntarily commit you to a behavioral health program, or call, crisis authorities, probably encourage you to do the same. And it didn't even happen. And so again, why does the computer program have a different standard than a human being would? And if it was a human being where that happened, there'd probably be an investigation. They'd be like, you didn't do anything, when there were these clear signs that you should have done, and that was your whole job and training. And they would lose their license, and they would lose their career, and maybe they would have criminal damages. And then the AI companies just get to shrug it off and say, well, we said don't use it for this, and we do things to try to prevent this from happening. Well, it's not good enough.
Yeah. I find it very interesting contrast, because I think we've talked about it before too, where specifically around autonomous vehicles, where the standards for machines were so much higher than humans. And now, weirdly enough, it's been flipped, where the standards for AI are so much lower than humans. It's such an odd thing.
Yeah. And a lot of the companies try, so I don't want to diminish the work that a lot of the people are doing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
As a product manager, as somebody who would be responsible for putting this kind of stuff into the world, that is a consideration you need to be making. And they're obviously not incentivized to do it. They need to be incentivized to do it. You need to be thinking about real and apparent downsides to your technology. This isn't some hypothetical, what if somebody hacks it or uses it in a different way that we don't intend? That stuff's really hard to try to hedge or understand. There's numerous cases of this stuff. There's companies who are explicitly trying to be, AI therapists. Don't use an AI therapist, use a human. If you can't afford a human, call a friend, call a family member, talk to another person. And then they get to skirt. So it's the same tech pattern over and over again. Anyone who's paying attention knows this. So yes, we need to disrupt things, and healthcare has a lot of opportunity to be disrupted. But when it comes to how people are treated or how people may or may not be harmed, that we need like laws and regulations. They need to be followed. Pretty
Yeah,
simple.
yeah. Yeah, and given the current state of things, at least in the US, it's not super clear that those will come to light.
Yeah. So on that topic, I think it's kind of interesting. So I use AI to generate our thumbnails for our videos because I'm not good at graphic design, to be
I was waiting
honest.
for your reasoning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's frankly pretty good. Like I think they're pretty good. I people have various opinions if the thumbnails matter. I think in audio world, probably not as much. In YouTube
Mhm.
world, people tell
It
me
does.
that's all that matters. And so
Yeah.
I don't know if I care enough to like actually put investment behind it or have a person and like everyone's screaming like, oh, he's not hiring somebody. It's like, there's no money on the podcast, folks. So like, if you want to see me hire somebody to do thumbnails, you should subscribe on Patreon. I have
Yeah.
plenty of people in my life that I know who would be able to do that, but I'm not going to ask them to volunteer. And I'm not willing to pay them to do the job because there's no revenue
Mm.
for that. But I've been using Gemini's Nano Banana model. It's pretty good. It the image generation stuff's always hard too because it's generating a realistic image or video is much more difficult than text, and the whole way the maths work and
Yep.
vectorization and whatnot is probably a cast in itself. But I have pretty good results with giving it very specific details and then keeping big holes in what I want done. So the algorithm is still
Mm.
able to kind of try to fill in the gaps with like whatever it thinks. And there's some amount of variability in there. And so I've
What
been
do you mean by
having,
hole? What do you mean by holes? Like, are you leaving things out, or are you asking it to fill in specifically the hole that you're leaving? Like, is it something you're leaving to the LM to quote
I,
unquote infer, or is this your
yeah,
specific thing?
basically. So yeah,
Okay.
the whole is like kind of intentional inference that I'm trying to plant in the prompt to let it, I don't want to say the word create because it's not creating,
Hmm.
but the,
Generate or fill in,
yeah,
or yeah, yeah.
not giving it the details or the parameters to see kind of what that generative piece, because like AI, quote unquote, these LLMs are really, really good at like summarization, all sorts of analysis kind of stuff. When
Mhm.
it comes to actually generating, it's funny because we call it generative AI. They're really bad at it and they make mistakes all the time. And so uh, I I really don't think this is actually going to take anyone's job. This is a really great example of like I'm able to provide better content for people with no money. I mean, I guess the Google Gemini costs money or
I
something,
was
but
gonna
it's
say it costs.
such a
Yeah, it
trivial
costs.
amount of money.
Yeah.
And if this were to ever get to the point where it's actually making real revenue, I'm hiring somebody. I have someone in mind who I would hire, right? So
Mhm.
it's like it would help me be able to get to the point to create a job and not take a job.
Mhm.
And but yeah, so anyway, but it has a really weird problem with you,
I've noticed.
right?
I look different in every single thumbnail.
To me now, it's kind of like a joke, right? Because
Mm.
it's I'm like see what it'll do
Oh,
to
that would be
Nathan,
fun. That would be fun. You
right?
should change me every single thumbnail.
I think I'm
I should look
gonna.
slightly different.
I know, right? I think I'm gonna. Well, so I guess so for folks like my process is really simple. Like I just take a clip of the video, a still frame where we're making a goofy face or something, because that's required for YouTube for some unknown reason,
Mm.
and upload it, and then I give it some parameters, the secret sauce. I'm
Mm.
not going to reveal my secret
Prompt.
prompt.
Yeah,
I
that
would
you've
just
stored away
it would
in Notepad.
encourage people. I would encourage people to not overthink
Keep it simple, one
it.
task at a
Yeah.
time. Honestly, that
Yeah.
works best for prompting. Yes.
My prompt for these thumbnails, it tends to be like 8 words, maybe a sentence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a little bit of iteration. We'll go through some turns to kind of tweak some stuff, but they're not really good at that either. It's like all the people that I've heard who are like, oh, this is going to replace graphics design. Like, no, it's not. You don't know anything about
Mhm.
graphic design. Like I need a quick and dirty thumbnail that like looks okay. This is great. If I were to put any sort of, if this was part of the brand, I mean, I guess it technically is, if it was part of the brand I cared about, then
Nice.
I would want an actual human to come in and not only design something that the AI isn't going to just come up with, make it more unique. I would also want them to intersperse it through the rest of the brand. So, color schemes and typography and different types of collateral, like all that kind of stuff. Like that's all really important running a business. This isn't really a business. I don't know what this is, but it's
Fun hobby
yeah, I
that
guess. I
might
don't
make
know.
money.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know really. I haven't really thought about it as a business. Like I know people do YouTube for like work.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
weird to me. I don't know if I ever want that. It's like it's kind of fun, and then if I feel like if I did it for work and it was like 40 hours plus a week, I'd be like, it sucks.
Well, I mean, I think it goes back to the conversation we had, was it last week, 2 weeks ago? Where it was like
Yeah,
some people who make content end up having to make certain types of content to increase their
yeah,
numbers, and then they end up not liking to doing the content thing. And yeah, it's like a weird
yeah.
cycle.
Well, and I've been like I said, I've been trying to explore the different algorithms of the different platforms, and I'll upload shorts to the channel. They do pretty well. I'll upload them to Instagram, like same video, nothing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
sometimes vice versa. Like sometimes something will go like really well on Instagram and then not at all on. So it's
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say really. Nothing I've done on Instagram is really well. It's gone really well
Okay,
because
that's more consistent
I
with
mean,
what I know.
a few hundred views. Like to me, that's probably noise. Like
Mm,
maybe if you don't have any views on Instagram, I'm sorry, but I don't really think 100 or 200 views on Instagram is notable.
mm.
Um, but what I've been discovering is that the algorithm on every platform is not kind to discovery, right? So if you're just
Yes, that
starting
makes
out,
sense. Right,
like you
right.
might get lucky and you hit, a million or tens of millions of views, but probably not.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people who are either aspiring to be a creator, uh, one, welcome. You don't get recognition no matter how brilliant you think you are. And if you don't believe me, take an art history class and they will tell you about all sorts of people you've never heard about who aren't really famous outside of the field, but are the reason art exists.
Mm.
A lot of thankless, work. Not everyone gets famous. But two, I would say it if you're doing it, be consistent. Like it's like everything else in life. You want to be successful at a job, be consistent, be dependable. If you're gonna show up at 8 o'clock, show up at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
If you're gonna post frequently, post regularly. Like I find that 2 to 3 shorts a week on the channel, and then we're working on clips and doing video stuff. Like you have to watch the data and the metrics you're getting to make sure that there's some kind of an impact if you care, or if you're trying to grow. Like that's a different strategy than I'm just going to throw out stuff to the world and just like see what happens. But I think people I can see after I've spent like a couple weeks now, I wouldn't say focused on YouTube, but I've spent like, I don't know, call it 10 hours a week, trying to understand it, trying to see if I can develop the audience or not. And so far it's been working. So thanks for subscribing. But I can see where it gets really easy for people to like get way too into the data and start to get validated by the data. And I didn't get any
Mm.
likes, or this one got 1 million views and this one only got, 400, and now my life is over kind of stuff. And like,
Speaking from experience.
I know, right? Yeah. I'm texting Nathan all the time. I'm like, oh, I got 5 views. Let's go.
New sub, yes.
I know, right? Well, and I think it's a few different reasons, right? So it's like, and we were just talking about this offline too, but we've been on Spotify for almost 3 years now since this thing started.
Whoa, no way, really? Wow.
Yeah, 2023.
Wow.
Yeah. And I just now got access to a bunch of shit I didn't even know existed because I hit some magic milestone in the algorithm for creator
Well, I
tools.
mean, I'm sure that the feature didn't exist back then too, right? Like the transcription thing. I'm sure. Did they?
It's
Spotify have
part
one?
of it. It's part of it. I
They
don't
haven't
know
now.
if they've always done it, but
Right.
and we're kind of, yeah. So part of it was that it now allows me to do transcriptions or upload them, I think. And I don't know if it's because I hit a milestone or if they've just matured the feature. But there's a bunch of other creator tools that like got unlocked too, and cool. I guess like I think it's just, why not just give people everything, or have
Because it
like a
costs
basic
money
and
to
an
do that.
advanced mode. But I mean, this kind of goes back to like these platforms I'll sell you on, like anyone can be a podcaster, anyone can be a YouTuber, anyone can be a creator. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But you're not going to probably explode overnight with popularity and success. Like maybe again, you get lucky. But what I'm finding is the algorithm is very unkind to new stuff, and especially things that are not fitting within a specific niche. So there's
Yeah,
all sorts of niches within tech, right? That we could be hitting, like the news run recap, reviews, unboxings, hardware, software stuff. Like we're
yeah,
kind of all over the place in like the tech, science and tech. And the podcast itself, I'm talking to people who are doing all sorts of different types of science, all sorts of different types of technology, arts, that kind of stuff. So the algorithm doesn't really know how to push us into the niche either. And it's really interesting to see how different things respond. And then like the next thing, which is like either similar or very different, it doesn't ever do what I think it will.
yeah. There are two things I wanted to mention. One's a little bit of a
Yeah.
tangent, so I'll leave that to later. But I'm overstepping because I don't know anything about this content creation. But I've heard that if you're trying to start building your own audience, on top of being consistent and posting regularly, find the niche
Yeah.
because that seemed to be what the recommendation engine can at least anchor on. So if you're doing some topic consistently, other people who are doing the topic who have more viewers than you might become one of the recommended because of your closeness to it. The
100%.
variety stuff, yeah, the variety stuff doesn't come until you actually have like a large enough following and you've established your brand that you can actually do whatever you want to do and still have followers, right?
Yep. And I
Um,
said that.
yeah, yeah, which I commend you on because that's the whole point of 3.8, right? It's like do the stuff that you actually find
Yep.
valuable and then want to do.
Exactly.
Um,
And that might translate into success in the algorithm, and it might not, right?
yeah,
And we were talking about this, and I kind of hesitate to talk about this stuff too. I really don't care, but I find that you have to like play some of this game to like get people to be exposed to your content. So like, was it back in August? I didn't even track like
yeah, before,
downloads and stuff for
yeah.
the
When you
audio,
first
right?
started, right?
And I started tracking anonymous statistics because I don't care about the audience segmentation and who people are and all that creepy ad tech. I care about you as people. I just don't want to like try to profit and monetize it, right? I didn't, whatever. And then we started seeing downloads, and then I hadn't even done any like search engine optimization for the website
Mhm.
or anything, right? It's just like, so I was like, maybe I should get around to doing that. And I kind of did a little bit. I started seeing web traffic go up a little bit on the site, and then I started seeing some of the episode counts getting a little higher. So I was like, maybe I'll put a little work into the episodes, try to make it more, SEO friendly, try to
Mhm.
help the algorithm out a little bit, give the content. And then not much happened for the first, couple weeks. And then all of a sudden you can like just see it on the data. It's just like straight up in terms of like downloads, getting subscriber data out of Apple and Spotify is strange.
Yeah,
But those data sets also started to trend up, listenership, that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, that's cool, it's working. And then we had a couple like podcasts where I think we just hit on a good topic or the planets aligned or whatever happened,
mhm.
and a couple of them really took off, and then more subscribers and that kind of stuff. And so I see it's really easy for people to chase that, and if you're trying to make this a job, then you have to chase it, but you also have to keep a healthy distance so that
Mhm.
doesn't become the pursuit of everything that you're going for, because then you're
Mhm.
not going to make interesting content. If you're trying to
Mhm.
constantly chase the trend, you're always going to be behind it, and you're never going to be the trend. And
Yeah.
some people are
Funnily
okay
enough,
with that.
yeah, that applies to technology too. If you're always trying to chase the latest and greatest technology, you'll never make it.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. Yeah, no,
yeah.
100%. So yeah,
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
the other topic I wanted to bring it back to, I'd
Yeah.
be very curious on your opinion on it as a product person, right? Like the whole thing where you quote unquote unlocked Spotify features for whatever reason, they decided to not roll out certain things to you. But I'm
Yep.
going to try and steelman the product case where usually these creator platforms are quite complicated once you get deep
Mm-hmm.
into it. Like there's so many things you can look into. Analytics is just one element of it, but like
Yep.
tweaking your thumbnails, tweaking your content metadata, stuff like that, it's all complicated. So not unloading all your features to the users when they first start might be one way to keep them engaged in the platform. So sort of like a learning onboarding process where Maybe once the
Mm-hmm.
account is X many days old, X many weeks old, we start to roll out the more complicated features because you can easily churn people because your dashboard's too complicated, right? No idea what to do, right? So there is a argument to be made, I think, about this slow rollout on top of maybe saving you some money for not having to roll out all these features to all those users who may not even use them. I think.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's,
Mm.
user cohorting, segmenting, all that
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff. Um, yeah, I don't disagree with that if the marketing supported it. But it's like you too can be a
Mm.
podcaster and have millions of listeners. And okay, but clearly you're picking favorites,
Sure.
right? You're giving people the tools. And like YouTube, I don't know, I hate all of it. But YouTube is probably the best platform right now for discovery, and it's probably the most creator friendly. I can't
Yeah,
really
I think
speak
we
to
talked about this.
TikTok. Yeah,
Right.
because I'm
There's
not
some
on
like
it.
the monetization options and even the amount that you
Yeah.
would get from monetization was much better on YouTube. It
Well,
looked
but not
like.
even that. I think just like if you're wanting to create content and have some sort of an audience, YouTube is like the way to do it. At
Is that
least right now.
by nature of its just popularity, or because of the way they manage their creators?
Probably both. I think
Okay.
they made. I don't know. I mean, I don't talk to anyone at YouTube. I'm not. I don't know. I probably won't.
You don't have a YouTube rep.
If I had millions of viewers, I still would probably be like, just don't with my stuff. Like,
Yeah.
well, that's why I host everything on the website too. Like, I haven't done the video on the website yet. I'm deciding if I want to do that. I probably should because I don't want to be coupled to another company, and then when they change
You might
something,
have
I
to
get screwed.
track bandwidth costs if you do that.
I'll be fine. I have ideas. We should probably
Mm,
talk about that.
okay.
I have some ideas.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, but I think YouTube made an editorial decision a while ago to just not do it. Because like every social platform starts with favorites, right? It's like they pick people who are either on and are generating a lot of buzz, and then they promote them because fundamentally it's a populist algorithm. YouTube seems to have obviously that, but they seem to segment the audiences better or the interest better and like funnel you. And so you can be a nobody and you can put up a YouTube video and get, hundreds or thousands or even millions of views and likes over a very short amount of time if you're doing good content.
Mm.
You can also not, right? It just because you're doing good content doesn't mean it's going to work either. So I want to encourage people to be creative and do it. It's just it's a weird world. Instagram seems like they really want you to pay to play. At least
Mm.
me, every time I turn around, they're like, "Hey, you could boost this post for however many dollars," and I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna give you
I
money
was
to
going to
boost
say,
my platform.
well, yeah, I was like, as a creator, you pay the platform, but yeah, that makes sense to boost your content.
Isn't
Okay,
that
yeah,
nuts?
yeah.
And so yeah, with Instagram, there's three different types of profiles I'm aware of. So there's like an individual, that's what most people are. There's a creator or an influencer or something, and then there's
Mm.
business. And so I'm a
Mm.
creator influencer or whatever because I don't give a shit about Instagram for my personal use. But I've been talking to a lot of people in general to be on the podcast. Instagram is like a communications platform. I figure if I have it, I might as well put
Ah,
content up. I don't spend any time on it, to be honest. Maybe that's why it doesn't do well either. I just put up
mm.
kind of repost stuff from YouTube. But yeah, it seems like it's really pay to play because I'll post stuff on YouTube. It'll get, thousands of views. And then I put it on Instagram. It's like 4. And it's like, maybe it's not the right audience there, but it's also like, clearly there's something else going on.
Or you're not
TikTok, I
paying
don't know.
Instagram enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. TikTok, I don't know. I might do it. We'll see. I don't know enough. Excuse me. I don't know enough about it. I don't feel like it'll probably do very well because it's like you have to create Instagram content. You have to create TikTok content. I can't be bothered to do that. I'm
Mhm.
more trying to give people access to it because there's a lot of people who don't leave TikTok. That is their social media. Okay. Well, I don't reach them.
Mhm.
Right. Double-edged sword of if you're on every platform doing all this extra work, now it becomes work or time that I can't put into other things. So I'm trying to find a good balance of where people can get exposed to the content it does well. So I don't know. We'll see. And younger folks are on TikTok, also kind of YouTube, but also not. So it's like kind of an audience thing. But yeah, so I think YouTube's made a decision to de-editorialize, or at least it seems that way. They seem to be much more, the algorithm works. It's like the algorithm is the algorithm. They're not really trying to cook it too much, whereas a lot of the other platforms seem to be doing that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know.
So do you recommend this content creator journey for anyone who's even remotely interested?
Yeah, I would say yeah. If you think you have something interesting to say, record it, put it out to the world. Like, don't expect you to get millions of views. If you get millions of views, don't expect that that's validating. But it's hard for me because I want people to express themselves, and I want other people to be able to be exposed to that. That's the whole point of communication. If you're just shouting into the void, you're not communicating. But at the same time, I see where people get so into it, and it just becomes this validation metric of, and I've even kind of had this. I put out a short, I think it was yesterday, and I was like, this is really good. Like, objectively, like, I've done film. I know good content when I see it, and I'm like, this is great. And it tanked. Right. And it's like, maybe the wrong people saw it. The algorithm just didn't get the right audience. Maybe I am off on what people on YouTube want, or what, the people everybody's having a bad day. I don't know. But, I'm not going to stop producing content that I think is good, useful, etc.
Yeah.
Because the algorithm said bad, but I'm afraid other people might, right? Because it'd be really easy to see. I think I've got the most thumbs down of anything I've done yet.
Oh, interesting.
But yet the views keep going up. So there's clearly the algorithm's like, some people hate this, so we're going to keep it going to see what it does. And I'm like, what the fuck? I have other videos that have like, all thumbs up, full engagement, like 80-90% retention rates, which is like YouTube gold apparently, and then like nobody views it. And it has to be the algorithm, right? Because it's if I have, I think there's one, it's like 300 or 400 views, it has 86% retention, it has a bunch of thumbs up, and you can just flatline.
Flatlined, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, right? So either all 300 people in the world who would be interested saw it, or there's something kind of going on. But yeah, so I'd say, yeah, if you think you have something, you don't need to spend a bunch of money on a camera. You don't need to buy expensive mics. Like, if you have a cell phone, start on your cell phone, upload it. There's all sorts of free hosting. YouTube obviously is free, and see how it goes. And if you really want to make it a career, I would say probably don't. It's not really a career. Like, yes, there are people who make money, but like, you shouldn't depend on it. I don't ever want to tell someone to not follow their dreams, but like, there has to be some reality at some point. And like, the people who are going to ignore that advice and go be successful in like content creation are the people who are going to be successful. Everyone else, you're probably not that. Statistically. don't put your whole entire livelihood on being an entertainer, right?
Yeah. Right. I mean, there might be something you've said about the state or the changes in entertainment that are happening. I do think that 5 years ago, even, like, the idea of a YouTube content creator as like a full-time thing was real. Like, there were people who made livings as content creators for entertainment on YouTube, and I think that was one of the big impetuses for a lot of companies to try and move into that space, because they saw that opportunity of capturing those types of audiences, because those who are younger are not going on your standard broadcasting channels to find their stuff anymore. It's all on the internet. So yeah, it's I've always found it to be a fascinating profession. If anyone wanted to try it.
And if you prove me wrong, great. Like and subscribe, comment on the channel, right? Like, hey, I proved you wrong.
Encouragement to prove Andrew wrong. Yeah.
But, and it's because I think too that in some regard there's almost no barrier to entry, right? You can do a phone. Yeah, we have more of a professional setup going on here, and then there's some people who they spend tens of thousands of dollars on cameras alone. Don't do that out the gate. But anything with a low barrier tends to have low value. So
interesting.
right? I'll keep that out
Yeah.
there. And not that
Yeah.
what you're saying doesn't have value. It's just that the audience might not find it monetarily valuing. So you could have a profound impact on someone's life or millions of people's lives and not make more than a couple bucks.
Mm.
And so I think it's around your motivation. Again, if you're trying to make this a job and trying to make it a livelihood, like you're probably better off learning editing for people, or learning some element of YouTube production or podcast production and trying to get someone else to pay you who's successful, because trying to get that fame, you know, it's like, it's the same thing as Hollywood's been this whole time, right? It's like very few people star in movies and they get a disproportionate amount of the income. The what is it, SAG Actors Guild, I think, is like 95% unemployed all the time.
I thought it was sort of by, I don't know enough about this industry or the space, but I could have sworn that was for some reason. Like they did that intentionally for something, for
Oh,
some
maybe, but I
flawed
mean, but
case or
most
something like
people,
that.
yeah, but I mean, most people who are aspiring actors or actresses, like you're getting a part on a commercial and you're kind of gig working, right?
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
few people break out into, there's, you know, some commercial actors who, you know, get a lot of stuff, or they get signed by a company, and then, you know, there's a pretty small pool of people who are ever doing anything. And there's the people, and I think the average wage for actors too, it's like something, it's like $20,000, right? Because like, again, a very small amount of people make all the money and everyone
Yeah,
else
it's
is making,
disproportionate. Zero.
yeah. And
Yeah.
again, if you think I'm wrong, great, go figure it out. Just make sure that, you know, you are living in reality, knowing that you're probably not going to make it. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
say have a backup plan, because I think having a backup plan means you're not going to take the risk to try to make it happen. But if you have anyone else who depends on you, like if you have a family and stuff, like
Yeah,
probably not a
yeah.
good decision. If, you know, you're young or you have some money and you want to make a go of it, make a go of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that is interesting because I draw a parallel to when people, or if I'm talking to anyone who's remotely interested in entrepreneurship, I tell them to take the jump, so long as they don't have the dependency, the financial dependency, because just
Mhm.
the act of doing, you learn so much along the way. And I feel like it could
100%.
be very similar for content creation. Like to your point, there are so many things involved in like a production kind of thing,
Yep.
whether it's on your phone or not, right? Just learning how to work with digital files, how to work with audio and video,
Hmm.
how to upload that kind of stuff. Like those are things that you would learn in the industry if you ever want to stay in the industry. So it's not just like you're taking your shot and that's it. You don't learn any skills, but you could build up yourself as you're doing this, whether
Yeah.
it's a hobby or whatever. It goes back to the intention, like what's the meaning behind what you're doing or why you're
Yeah.
doing it.
And entertainment is just a seriously lousy
Yeah, super noisy.
industry,
Right,
right?
right.
Like, and that's like to your point on startups, 100%. That's why I'm kind of being cautious, because I don't want to say, I don't want to tell people
Yeah.
not to do stuff. But for entertainment specifically, like if your dream is to be a YouTuber or a podcaster or an Instagrammer or a TikToker or like whatever, like 83% of Gen Z said that that's what they want to do. It's not real. You know, if you're much better off starting a company or starting again, and even if you start a company, like we just had a podcast where I interviewed Austin, and you know, he coined, you know, cosplaying as a startup founder, because there's a lot of people out there who are like, yeah, I have a startup. It's like, well, what are you building? Oh, I have all these ideas. Okay, great. What
Yeah.
have you built? Like, what's your customers? Like, if you have a startup and you produce something and you don't have customers, that's a very different problem than I have an idea for a business and I'm shopping it around, or, you know, there's all sorts of like distractions. You know, I'm in an incubator and I'm in meetings and I have this great pitch deck. Okay, cool. That's important. What have you built? What have you gotten in front of other people? And it's kind of funny saying that too, because like Seeks, you know, I have the Seeks product that's out
We were just talking about this before
I know,
too.
right? And it's a little, that one's a little bit different though, because one, it's like I do know it works. It is a thing that works. I am using it, so it's definitely providing me value, and it's really for me. If other people find value, great, that's cool. I don't ever see a massive market for it, but I do think there is a market for it, and I do think it will help other people. And it's a very, I'm asking a very small amount of money to do a thing that saves me 50 minutes an episode. So,
Yeah.
but the other product that I haven't talked about publicly yet that's in process, that one's a little bit more strange. That one's going to be, we should maybe talk about that offline a little bit, because I have some ideas on monetization and I don't know if I like it.
Ooh. Oh, we did talk a little bit
Cliffhanger.
about it. I think we got sidetracked. And I think we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And oh, actually, we should be recording. And we just jumped into the recording.
Yeah. I'm not ready to release that one yet. I don't, maybe I should. I have a domain. I just haven't put it to anything yet. I'm wondering if I should do that. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe I'll release it next week for the name.
Okay,
I'm
nice,
actually really
nice.
close to a prototype on it. And I'm kind of thinking maybe I just put it out, but I don't really want to fold
I
my
mean,
hand or tip
you
my
gotta
hand
speak
either
speak the truth.
necessarily.
Yeah, speak the truth. You gotta get it out there. You gotta put it in people's
Yeah, but
hands.
there's some things that you build or do where having a more mature offering out the gate and being first is just as important as being first.
Yeah, this is definitely something that is discussed in like the startup space. Is I find a lot of people do talk about this, but it's always so hard to tell because it's like,
Yeah.
well, if you have something that is not mature enough, then people lose interest or they think it's nothing, and then you
Yep.
sort of squandered your first opportunity to make the first impression because arguably that's a super important thing is to get the first impression right. But then you can get caught up in like the perfectionist mindset of like, oh, it's not ready, it's not ready, it's not ready yet, and then you just spin your wheels. And
That's most
Lord knows,
people.
I was gonna say I've been in that boat too, right? I've been rolling for hours and find I've not moved at all. So it's a hard decision to have to realize where you stand on and whether you should just go or not. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that was the mentality behind the move fast and break things.
Yeah.
It's taken kind of a bad rap, but back in the early tech days, it was just like get your
Well,
product out to people.
yeah, and even now, but I also think that's interesting you say that because I think the level of it depends what you're doing. Again, if you're doing a
Of
B2B, it's
course,
a little different. A B2C, the average consumer has so much higher of a bar
yeah.
for a product too that there's so much more now that has to go into something for it to work, and like just even like security stuff and like all GDPR compliance and kappa and all
Mhm.
this other stuff that like you wouldn't have had to deal with. You kind of have to kind of think about, and there's other services that allow you to do this, but then you have to integrate, and so there's this, it's a little bit more complex, but at the same time, yeah, I think the way that to successfully hedge that is know what is the core value you're trying to deliver, and does the thing deliver the value? Is it clunky and
Mhm.
ugly and maybe crashes? Okay, probably release it, right? You can fix it and people will use it and you'll find other bugs and that kind of stuff. But I think, and I would say also you want to do a little bit of hypothesis driven what ifs,
Hmm.
but it really is easy to then delve into this whole big concocted what if story that you're telling yourself or the team is telling themselves. And now you're trying to deliver on your what if and not
Mhm.
your core product. Again, if you lose sight of what the value is, like Sora, they'll pick on them real quick. What's the value? Being able to generate a video. Okay, that's probably a pretty small thing to do. Now, how do we have 10 million people use this? Most companies, you failed because you're not going to have
Mhm.
10 million people use it. OpenAI probably has 10 million people or more on a daily basis using their stuff. So they have a built-in customer base they know they can top. And so
Yeah.
that might be a requirement. Now that's probably a really hard engineering problem that probably took them months to figure out how to deliver on. And now they're slow releasing it to make sure it scales. I don't think they could have put out an engineering prototype of Sora 2 and
Yeah,
had
I
it.
think that's fair. Yeah.
But I see a lot of startups or a lot of smaller companies, they fall into that trap. Well, we need to have thousands of users. Well, maybe not. Maybe you need your first two. Maybe you need your first
Mhm.
one.
Mhm.
Maybe you need 10. And trying to identify how big your market is, and then figuring out how many people do we need to know if there's actually something here. Because again, you can have the best product in the world and it might just not resonate. It's just you're unlucky, right?
Yeah.
It happened kind of with the podcast
Timing.
app I
Yeah.
built,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Timing too. Right.
Yeah, and people might not be ready for it. Maybe there's
Right.
another technology that isn't as good, but people haven't figured it out yet. There's a lot of reasons, but people then get into these what ifs and you start building for like, if I've almost start, it's like call it like a self persona where in product development, personas, and right, you have possible users, and then the what ifs become this like internal persona that nobody wants to acknowledge. And then you start building all these features and building all this stuff without any actual validation, and you're doing like hypothetical or self-validation. You're like, oh, well, it really needed to do this thing, and we made it do the thing, so now it works, but we need to do this other thing now, but you're still not in front of customers, and you're still not in front of people who are going to pay you. So
yeah, 100%.
We talked a lot about that, but yeah. But at the end of the day, try it.
Yeah, try it. That's the whole idea. Yeah. Right. Figure out what you're doing it for and just try it.
I'll just make a clip of that. Just loop it for like 50 minutes. Just try it.
Just try it. Just do it.
I'll train an AI model, and it'll just, eventually like our pizza will be melting out of our faces or something. If you made it this long, thank you. And try it.
Yes. Just try it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying for now. Just try it.
All right, take care.